It feels really silly to be standing up here with a room full of distinguished educators. It's very intimidating because I'm sure that every single one of you have done things that would make me go, wow, and if I knew the things that go on in all of your classrooms, I would be cringing with self-consciousness about what I'm going to show you. But I'm also going to tell you about the history of our school while waiting for this. Oh, okay, all right. All right, so this is, all right. Okay, so our school is Korea International School. It is in a brand new building. It's one of those schools that started out in the ratty little slum and then built a sparkly new facility with the swimming pool and yada yada, and the squash courts and so forth, and put itself on the map. So it's only 8 years old. This is our second year in our new campus, and I'm going to tell you sort of the history of how this small school, the high school, by the way, is not even at maximum capacity for 11th and 12th grades yet, right? So, but our waiting list in 9th and 10th is now full, and we've got one. So we project 1-2 years, and then we'll have the full capacity. So it's going to be a story of how a proprietary proprietary international school actually became one that was willing to splurge on a one-to-one program with Apple MacBooks. All right, so and sort of following up on Dylan. Dylan's 16 months old. We, as a one-to-one laptop school, are 4 months old. So you have seen an 8-year-old school, a 1.5-year-old school, and now you're going to see a baby school, all right, as far as one-to-one goes. So you get my sort of metaphor here. We're talking the story. This is our little baby scrapbook. The parents of the one-to-one program at this school deserve some recognition. Now, all of you know, if you're the lone ranger in your school, you're the only person using Web 2.0 and laptops in your classroom and that sort of thing, there is no way that you're going to succeed in creating a groundswell for change in your school. So I want to talk about this man right here, the dolphin, Jason Spivey. Dolphin, say hi, wave to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Jason and I taught in adjacent classrooms, grade 9 history, last year. We were not yet a one-to-one school. And because of Jason and his obvious attitude of, I don't give a damn, I'll do anything, Jason really started this groundswell. Anthony Armstrong. Anthony, can you just stand up? Anthony is the point man for the middle school. Anthony had jumped in first with Moodle and then started blogging, and now he's collaborating with schools in flat classroom projects and all sorts of stuff. So Anthony has really been the person who is the radiator for the middle school. Greg Israel is here. He's new to us this year, but he came with a background of using wikis and Web 2.0 in his practice, so it's good to see that we're hiring people. And then strangely enough, this is really wonderful because Kim Cafino, Kim, and Justin Medved, Justin, as you will see, are part of the story of, despite the fact that they're at International School Bangkok, they are part of the story of how Korea International School became one-to-one, and I'll show you that. Okay, so we're starting right now with the pregnancy stage. This is last year. We only had laptop carts. It was a very uncomfortable thing. Any of you who are classroom teachers using laptop carts, you can predict the types of discomforts that I felt using them daily in the classroom. Anybody want to throw one out there, laptop carts, how uncomfortable they are? Yeah. How about the pulling them out? How about the powering on? All that sort of thing. How about the not 24/7? They can't take them home, do their work at home. As I said, the old and out, pulling them out, putting them back away, that's 10 minutes of your class time right there. And they were on that other platform, they were HPs. So, trying to do a podcast, I would do one at home, and it would take me an hour. And then my students, it would take 4 hours because they were using Audacity and having to mash all sorts of stuff together. Whoa. Good stuff still did happen last year. We saw creativity with YouTube and other things. simply with students with video camera. I'm not going to play this whole thing, and I don't know how to do this on.
This is our very podcast, and I'm really.
I don't know how to do this on Keynote. I've never used Keynote before, so I wish I could stop this. Matt, figure it out. Right arrow. Whoa, Matt. I don't know. There we go. All right. Okay, whoops. Oh, that's because I've got a podcast in here. All right, notice, this was the teacher podcast last year. You notice the GarageBand sound loop and all that sort of thing? The nice production. So Amy made this grammar film where she drew a lesson on interrupting phrase or clauses separated by long dashes for a particular sentence style with nice emphasis. And she taught it via simple cartooning, but in a very creative way. So I podcasted with her and interviewed her, and I published the podcast on my blog. The parents love that. The parents love that. They all think, oh, anything for the resume, right? For the college application. Things started taking off. Jason and I next did a wiki where we didn't yet explode the school walls, but we did explode the classroom walls because Jason and I taught all of the grade 9s together for history. And so we did a wiki collaboration between our 4 classrooms so that all the students were writing historical fiction based on the French Revolution on a wiki and linking to each other's stories in what we call the Ant Farm Diary. It's not my idea. I took it from a guy in San Francisco. But in any case, Jason was the person who jumped in and would play. And because of that, we started seeing the power of collaborative things with wikis. The next thing that happened was 1001 Flat World Tales. And this is where the EduBlog network kicked in. I blog, and oh, by the way, let's see. So, okay, I can't escape from this to show you. I'm not going to take the time. I'll do it at the end. I blog, and I blogged fiendishly to get people to play internationally. Please, somebody collaborate with me. Write with my students on a creative writing wiki thing. And it ended up 10 countries, over 200 students, podcasting their stories, as well as writing them, and peer editing and doing a 6 traits writing workshop with each other from countries all over the world. Elementary school had one division, which, by the way, Kim Cofino is managing this year from IS Bangkok. So if anybody wants, this is an annual project, if anybody wants their elementary students to write short stories, multimedia probably, if I know Kim, contact Kim. We've got a middle school level and we've got a high school level. So it's global collaboration, and it's published on a website. But the way the EduBlog network kicked in was that other bloggers started writing about the project idea. And first Carl Fish, who was instrumental because Carl has a big readership in Colorado, he did the Did You Know video, you know? You guys know it? The Did You Know video? So Carl wrote about it. And then Justin comes in. Justin, where are you? So, and then Justin and some other people did a podcast interview about the use of wikis, where we talked about my project with Jason and we talked about Flat World Tales. So the EduBlog network was essential to, and Matt, this is about Apple as well as everything else, but Web 2.0 was essential to creating that desire in my proprietary school for this woman to say, okay, this is a for-profit school, but I will spend the $250,000 for the first year's investment in making our high school one-to-one. Kim Cofino started blogging about it. Australia then started picking up on it, another Australian. And then it starts getting some Spanish language attention from Spain, and then China. So the blogging Web 2.0 thing creates the groundswell. So that was last year. For the last 6 months of the last school year, not this school year, there was an ugly story. It was an epic educational battle between our curriculum director, whose PhD in 1982 meant that her educational theory was current up to 1982. And her curriculum philosophy had no idea about Web 2.0, had no idea about digital literacies. And it got to a point where there was a big conflict between her and me. And I was just saying, owner, director, administrators, please give me some immunity from this person, because look at blogging. And I actually had them in a classroom for 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. I said, because look at this. This is a new literacy. I know she's a literacy specialist, but it's 1982, which is like the Middle Ages. And so it was 15 minutes of saying, you know, there's a personality conflict here, and over 2.5 hours of saying, and I want you to see what it looks like when you're commenting on a student's blog, and I want you to see what wiki collaboration and writing workshops do, and all sort of thing. The director, and especially the owner of the school, pointed at our LCD projector screen and said, this is the future I want. And so this epic, ugly battle had a happy ending. My principal, Rich Berner, who is next year the director of our school, by the way, I urge you, if you're looking for a good director and a really good climate professionally to work at, a one-to-one Apple school, Korea International School, I can't say good enough things, and I think everybody here would agree. Rich is a great guy. I'm sorry to lose him as a high school principal, but I'm happy that he's going to be at the helm. We're hiring. We're growing. So Rich and myself sat with the business manager, the owner, and the director, and for 6 months kept getting, no, Korea doesn't do Macs. Anybody who knows Korea knows it's a very conformist country. And we kept saying, but look, I use PCs at school, I use my Mac at home. I know the difference. I can show you. And so they kept saying no. A month later, no. And we're like, yes. Have the argument all over again. And long story short, we finally won. By the end, by the way, there's a misconception, I think, that Macs are somehow more expensive than PCs, but our business manager himself did a price comparison of PCs and Macs. And when you factor in the software for PCs to do the same thing a Mac can do, there is not a significant price difference. In fact, I would say they're practically equal. So that was a surprising thing for us, because we had that sort of assumption until we started crunching numbers. You have to factor in software. All right, so that was the delivery. Yes, you're going to be an Apple one-to-one school. Here we are at 4 months old. If you can't see, that's poopy diaper time. We're cleaning it up. Now, anybody who says, oh, now that we're one-to-one, we have no problems, has never gone one-to-one. You've got the teachers who have never used a Mac, much less a computer in the classroom. Email, what? So we went through some stages of teacher training. There was resistance. There was bewilderment. There was some experimentation, because we went to Learning 2.0. Jason went also, and a couple other of us. And we came back and we gave our own little learning fair workshop, professional development day. And so we started over 3 months, I guess, bombarding them with RSS, wikis, blogs, podcasts, all of this language. And they kept on getting it, little by little, and at least they started getting like this dim recognition of what it was, until after this constant barrage over 3 months of the same sort of introductory stuff, we had a full-day professional development workshop where we rewarded the winner of whoever created the best multimedia product using anything they wanted, GarageBand, iMovie, whatever, would win an iPod Nano. And then Apple sent a teacher trainer over from San Francisco, and she did a week's one-on-one, one-on-four type of consulting. And all of that cumulatively has led now to a very surprising problem. We're worried that our teachers are using this stuff too much now. Imagine you're the student and you've got 4 teachers assigning you an iMovie on the same night. Anybody who's, and they're saying, okay, a 5-minute iMovie. That's a scary thing, because a 5-minute iMovie takes how long? 5 hours? 5 hours. Yeah. So it's a good problem to have, though. Now, what about the students themselves? If you can't see, that's a kid who has marked all over the nice MacBook Pro, and it looks like spilled something on it, too. And if you can't read, that says digital natives my ass. RSS, Wikis, blogs, digital storytelling, copyright and Creative Commons, quality. What are those? These kids know how to play games. They know how to Facebook. They don't know RSS. They don't understand a lot of stuff. So it's really interesting trying to recondition them because they think that school is supposed to be rote memorization too and 5-paragraph essays. So it's a real battle to try to get them to be creative the same way we were trying to get the teachers to be creative. The teachers are actually doing a better job than the students in a lot of ways. But they're cute when they're excited. Okay, now, here are the things that are happening in month 4. I had an interesting experience. Matt sent me an email. Clay, can you sort of do a showcase of the best stuff going on at KIS? It was kind of short notice. I sent out a very quick email to the whole faculty and got some submissions and chose a couple. Here's one. This is a biology iMovie. I will just scroll through it to show you why I think it's excellent learning. They're doing the Calvin cycle in biology, whatever that is. It has to do with chloroplasts. But look at it, seriously. All right, when you are modeling with Lego, doing visual learning, multimodal, and also three-dimensional, the whole bit, and speaking your way through it, there's no way you can fake knowing that stuff. And the creativity and imagination are great. And then look, this was a pair project, so look what this girl at the end did. The partner here. I don't know, I'm not getting any sound.
Turn out the volume.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
These are then turned back into the way they were from which they came from. The cycle is then repeated.
Okay, you get the idea. Huh? Okay. And they're cute, they're good, and sometimes they're brilliant. This is a satire unit using comic life in a 9th grade language arts class. Now, I guess I can't use Zoom.
Yeah.
Can I?
What do you want to do?
I just want to zoom in.
We're going to learn some Keynote here today.
Okay, well, since I can't right now,
What do you want to do with it?
I just wanted to zoom in so they could have a clearer view of this comic life.
Oh, you have to
Oh yeah, I wanted to do it without leaving the... Yeah, okay. All right.
Actually, it's pretty readable, right?
Yeah, it's just the art is so nice.
See more of it.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, that's-
Matt, this reminds me of that did you know thing, you remember? And
Yes,
you had the
kind of a hack.
pointer right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay, forget the title. Matt's nice little amendment. This is a satire on the not just Korean but Confucian problem of night schools, hagwons, tutors, SAT prep, all of that stuff that these kids are sent to instead of sleeping, playing, reflecting, having a normal life. This girl, 9th grader, wrote a 32-page comic book and drew it herself and just used Comic Life for the text and for the frame setup. And sorry, that just doesn't work.
Did Apple that?
Yeah. I'll probably get the bowling ball. Okay, there you go. All right. I wish I had more time to walk you through this, but by the way, well, I'll show you. All this stuff is linked on my blog. It is about, it's full of imagination, and it shows the artistic skills of this girl. Now look at her, she's talking about a child whose parents said, you have to quit playing the guitar because you have to start going to school and get a high GPA so you can go to college at Harvard. And the kid puts that guitar in the closet, and just look at the sense of design for a 9th grader. But this is the last page, the end. And the funny thing is, this kid is the child of this person who was the protagonist of the story and who had dreams of being a soccer player, which were the main story of this comic book. And the kid had to put his soccer ball in the closet and say goodbye to it when he was a child. Now, flash forward, he's a father, and he's doing the same thing to his child. It's a brilliant thing, and I wish that the teacher would make the Ning public so that you could see the whole thing, but he won't. Unless maybe, well, we'll find a solution. Now, how do I get back to display? Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. And then just some teaching stuff. I'm teaching Paradise Lost to AP Literature seniors, but they're Korean seniors, and if you've ever read John Milton's epic Paradise Lost, very difficult language. So this is my version of reading to my students.
Now first inflamed with rage, came down, the tempter, here the accuser of mankind, to wreak on innocent frail man his loss of that first battle, and his flight to hell. Yet not rejoicing in his speed, though bold, far off, and fearless, nor with cause to boast, begins his dire attempt, which...
Okay, so you got the idea. Selections. I recite, I'm modeling how to read this very syntactically complex stuff. The subject is almost never before the verb in Milton, for example. It's multimodal, you can see, you can read, you can hear. And the students respond to this. I embedded it on a Unbeing forum. So the students listen, and I was like, how does this work for you? You know, tell me, does this work? And all of them said, it didn't make sense when I just read it, but hearing it, hearing the emphasis, the intonation, it makes it so much easier. And now, so the next thing is, they have to make an iMovie of 40 lines or so in pairs, so 100 lines they have. I've encouraged them, I can't wait to see what comes of this, to go into Second Life. You know Second Life, right? Yeah. We're geeks here, right? Okay. To go into Second Life and design, this is Paradise Lost, it's the story of Satan, God, Adam, Eve, and the temptation and fall of man. So to create demons with wings, right? To have them fly through Second Life, or at least pose them in tableau. This sort of thing. So they're doing that right now. They're probably freaking out because they have to recite it at the same time on the movie. So between 30 students, we have about 1,500 lines of Paradise Lost covered. I'll publish that on something. Okay, distinguished educators, look distinguished. Okay, you might know those guys. Distinguished Jeff. Distinguished Kim, and distinguished Mark. Is it Mark? Yeah. This is, last night we took our camera, we had a meeting at the Starbucks Mall down the street, and we discussed our project. And so far, and thank God for this conference, because meeting these new teachers who have the shared interest in global warming and student activism and this sort of thing, this global collaboration is really taking off. And if anybody else is interested in hooking your students up with this, it's basically a drive to get students to approach their schools and say, can you commit to taking some concrete steps to become carbon neutral? Or at least reduce your carbon footprint, short-term, long-term. It'll be web-based, there'll be a lot of public service announcements, calling the need for iMovie, GarageBand, and so forth, on and on and on. Writers for the blog, and so forth. And finally, and here's my close. This is pushing the limits beyond the school walls. It started with Jason and I obliterating the wall between our two classrooms. Now and then it went to collaborating with International School of Bangkok and Hawaii for the 1001 Tales. And now I really want to get to this. I'm excited about this. You know you want students to love blogging, right? How many of you have done classroom blogging? Okay, so unless you're like some sort of miracle worker, your students don't always love it as much as you do. Is that true? I can tell you in my experience it is. There are the 5–10% who love it, and the other, maybe it's a Korean thing, the remainder who are at best lukewarm. So here's the new attempt to get beyond that, to find students who just do it already and create a group blog for them. Now, so here's the story. I don't know how many of you keep up with edublogs, but Arthas is a 14-year-old Vermont kid. I invited him to participate in this blog. A student from the Flat World Tales last year in Hawaii. She's a great writer. A couple of my students in Seoul. Some students in New York, St. Louis, Chicago. They write about Classroom 2.0, Web 2.0 in school, how pedagogy really sucks a lot of the time as a kid, sitting in a classroom where the teacher won't let them do anything but sit there and listen, yada yada, or do worksheets, right? So these kids write about this anyway. They sort of tap into the edublogosphere. and they write about it from their perspective. So we put them all together, and here's what they did. And it's a debut. You see it before anybody else because this Student 2.0 website blog has not launched yet. It's going to be a collaborative, collective blog among students who are quality bloggers that we can all point to and say, that is good student blogging. It's a model. We're providing a model for teachers anywhere who want to see what good student blogging looks like. And so for the launch, which was scheduled to be today, but it's been pushed back to December 5th. Oh, and there's a kid, by the way, in Scotland. The kid in Scotland's name is Sean. His blog is the Bass Player's Blog. He likes to play the bass. And Sean wrote a song. And Sean, sorry, he didn't iChat, he Skyped everybody to fire up their iSights, because these are all Mac users, and he directed them from 4 continents to do a 10-second video of themselves, send the file to him on Skype, and he mashed it together in iMovie along with the song that he created in GarageBand. And he sent it to me today so that I could play it for you. So here we go. I haven't seen it. That's his blog. Again, original music, right? Hawaii, right? This is the Godfather. I asked them to take the footage of me off, but it's just that they were like, we don't have enough time, yada yada. This is a rough cut. But it's just, I mean, this is amazing. This is not an assignment. These creative students wanted to do this. They have a real project. They want to be known as writers and taken seriously by adults, so that they can be, as they said here, the silent majority no more. They can talk about education from their perspective. And so to see them demonstrate, and these are web server administrators, these are web designers who know CSS and PHP and the whole bit. So I'm really excited about this. Stay tuned. All right, so currently at our school we're 4 months old, and sometimes things are a little bit awkward, but we're carrying on. Our next stages, we need some multimedia standards. Things like using the Ken Burns effect with skill as opposed to by default, where it always zooms in on the center. Things like video shot composition, rule of thirds, framing shots, that sort of thing. We do have student trainers. I teach a Web 2.0 activity club, and those students, luckily there are 30 of them, and they go into our 30 homerooms. And so one per homeroom can train 10 kids in weekly tech skills. Again, we are concerned about preventing overload. That is a stage that you have to anticipate if you go on one-to-one. Because teacher A doesn't know what teacher B is doing. Another thing that I've done is I've set up a Moodle anonymous username, Alfie, and the password is anonymous. And so students can log into this and anonymously do an assignment where they can say, one-on-one laptop, launch, how's it going? And they can say good, bad, and ugly stuff as long as they are constructive and good, because you are telling us what we need to hear from your perspective. And it's all anonymous. So that anonymous student password is a really, really good mechanism for getting student feedback without fear of any reprisal at all. And we're going through some stuff about admin roles. Questions like, should a tech coordinator teach one class, teach no classes? And there are pros and cons about this. And I've talked to several people here, and they each had different philosophies about the answer to that question. Your cutesy ending title here. Okay, and being a good digital citizen, here are the credits of all the people whose photos I used from Flickr. And that's all I have. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you to Clay, thank you to Michael as well, and thank you to Dylan for those 3 school-based reflections. Obviously, 3 different different flavors and 3 different approaches to how things are working. So please talk to those guys about what they're doing at their schools. Continue to network. All right, it is currently